What's going on, people? I've got 14 minutes. It's bullshit. Anyway, I was reading up on a few posts and Reddit stuff about INFJs, and it's really funny as to what the conclusions to how other people perceive the INFJ as. And I recently, when I say recently, I mean a few months back now, I came to a pretty good understanding of how I do come across to other people, and it was a bit scary actually, because I had a conversation with one of my INTP friends, and we're similar in many respects, but we're also very different in many respects. We share the introverted intuition, or the intuition function. I think they've got extroverted intuition, so we can have very good conversations. The thing about the INFJ is we are a scientist of humans. We're very interested in human beings. We're interested in figuring people out. Okay, that's why we've got radical empathy, because we're interested in figuring people out. We're not necessarily concerned with helping them. And I think this is a big delusion, that not only are a lot of I'm pointing to the camera, I'm pointing to the computer. It's a delusion that a lot of the online tests and people who talk about INFJs, it's a delusion that they have. The INFJs are selfless, they're this, they're that. And they can be, just like every single human being. You know, you want to see people happy. It makes you feel good when you see other people happy. So if you have a belief in your head which says, I need to sacrifice as much as I can of myself to make other people happy, then I'm going to feel happy. That's a delusion. Okay, you can do things to make other people happy, but you can also have your own boundary, and you can say no. Okay, I think this lesson is a very important one for INFJs, learning to be assertive and figuring out what you will stand for and what you will not stand for. Okay, it takes a bit of deliberation and contemplation and figuring yourself out, but this is very vital, very important. But back to the thing about helping people. We can be the best helpers on earth, I think, because we really can figure people out. But I've realized that in recent years, maybe due to unhealthy experiences in life, a lot of the time when I'm meeting someone and I take a genuine interest in them, it is manipulation. Okay, it's the ultimate form of manipulation. I become obsessed with figuring this person out, and I'm almost delivering my own version of psychotherapy to get them to open up, to get them to talk about themselves, to tell me everything about themselves. And I'll use all sorts of methods which will intuitively come and then be used through the feeling function, to get them to essentially do what I want. And of course it involves being very charismatic. It involves being very likable, very friendly, very interested in that person, genuinely interested in that person, right? And you can just be a force for some people. I've seen it happen. You can be a massive force, and they've never met someone like you. It sounds very narcissistic, but you can be someone who literally has swept someone off their feet, okay? But for you, it was just an act, in the sense of you wanted them to open up and you wanted to figure them out. So it was a ruse. It was something you did to seduce someone, I guess, especially when you've planned it. But then you didn't do it because you wanted to connect with them, right? INFJs have a problem. A lot of us have a problem with trust and letting people in. We don't trust people. I mean, we're the best communicators out there. We're the best people for connection, but yet we don't want to connect with people, really. We like to make superficial connections with people. First time impressions and first conversations, we love to connect like that. But anything more than that, we run away. We cut that shit off instantly. And that's why INFJs get called cold. Okay, cold or callous. because at first we are very empathetic, very emotive, very human, and we're very connection driven. But then when we sense that this person who we don't necessarily want a relationship with, we just wanted to make a quick connection then and there just to satisfy our FE's demands for connection. Once that purpose has been served, we just walk away, and we can walk away with no remorse, no feeling whatsoever, no guilt, no nothing. And we didn't realize the effect we had on this person. This person is a human being with feelings and thoughts and a life, and we had an impact on that life. We don't take ourselves very seriously. Well, no, that's a lie. We take ourselves very seriously, but we don't actually notice how much of an effect we have on other people. We've got this, I don't know if it's low self-esteem or just a low general opinion of yourself, but we don't. I think, this is me personally, I don't think that I would leave a massive effect on this person or this group of people, and then to suddenly be hit up by them, or they're trying to constantly talk to me, or they're trying to invite me to their group's outings, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you inviting me out for? Why are you trying to get me to do certain things with you? Like, I don't understand. But when I really trace back the steps, I can see that it was because our initial meetings were there was a lot of energy from my end, which was connecting with them. We do it, like I said, we do it for a purpose. We do it for a very sneaky purpose, and that's just, social harmony. It's our general default purpose. We use intuition to figure the situation out, and then FE guides us to the social communication part. But usually there's a very hidden motive involved. Like, let's say you joined a new social group, or it's a meeting or a new club. You're gonna put on a big facade. Okay, your NI is gonna look around and make all sorts of connections, and then your FE is gonna come into full play. You're gonna boom, 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 make connections left, right, and center. Everyone's gonna see you as the most charismatic person in the room. Sometimes you're not loud. Sometimes you go in the quiet way, but sometimes you'll go in as the extrovert, the full-blown extrovert. Now I've been in both modes now, where I've gone the slow but silent way, or the full-blown extrovert way, depending on the group dynamic. And it's really funny, because once that ruse is over, you walk away, and you cut off, and you leave the other person wondering what the fuck did they do wrong for you to walk away that coldly. Because people do think about themselves more than they think about others. I've realised that about myself anyway. So we are the most human, non-human people on earth. Because we know how to make connections with people, and we do deeply care about humanity. But we don't really care about individual humans, and I've figured this out. I'll make 1,000 different reasons as to why I shouldn't care about someone, but humanity as a whole, I can definitely be a champion for that. Because it's an idea, it's a theory, it's a concept. And INFJs love concepts to do with people. And then we like to test these concepts out in reality. We like to see whether or not these concepts are going to play out the way we think they are. And that's how we do it. We're very analytical about it. We're very cold and analytical about the way we go about dealing with human beings. There's a good character who I think is an INFJ, a bit socially inept though, but you can see his INFJ-ness very, very, very clearly. Holden Ford from Mindhunters. He's a token INFJ. I can see myself in him, especially when I was younger. I can see myself as him very, very much so. And you can see the fact that when he tries to get the prisoners to open up and tell them or diverge the information, he becomes them, right? He uses this very adept form of empathy and manipulation to get them to start talking and start opening up. And this is how INFJs do their thing. This is how we do it. We do it in many different ways, but this is how we do it, and that's why we can be very well liked by people, because we become them. People like who they are, right? That's how you build rapport with people. You become the person. But we do it because we want to know them, but not because we care about them, but because we just have a fascination with the human experience. Take it from me, I'm a historian. I'm a psychologist now, not by trade obviously, but by studying at uni. But I'm planning on becoming a full-time psychologist. But take it from me, I'm a historian, so I studied history because I wanted to figure humans out. I wanted to learn about them. I wanted to understand their motivations. I wanted to know what happened in the past. Why did certain political things happen and why did they not? Why did certain philosophies work out? Why did they not? What's guiding humanity? Where is it leading? What dictates it anyway? But now psychology is a little bit more focused on the human mind and how the human mind operates. And this is obviously very relevant to what I want to go into my career, which is psychology, clinical psychology, which is clinically analyzing people, right? But now with the goal of helping them achieve their own goals. So this is a bit of an altruistic aim. But damn, very profound realizations about the INFJ, and it is a bit of an INFJ paradox. I'm going to call the video the INFJ paradox, actually, because we are a walking paradox. At one point we can come across as very caring, loving, compassionate human beings, empathetic, and then the next moment we can become very cold, disconnected, heartless, rational and analytical. And this will even scare the thinker types as well, because the thinkers, they can detect our radical empathy. Sometimes for them it's too much. But then sometimes when the INFJ becomes brutally honest, you'll say it how it is. You'll just plunk it with zero consideration for the other person's feelings, because they asked you. They asked you what's wrong, what should I do, where should I go from here, and you would just plunk it with no what's the word? You'll say it with no consideration of their feelings because they asked for it. So you already have an analytical little conception of this person in your head, which is something that you should not rely on. Okay, it's something you should use as a concept to understand and predict, but you shouldn't rely on that concept to determine this person's identity, because that can now lead to a lot of bad things, a lot of ego, right? But you've already figured this person out, so when this person asks you a question about themselves, you will snapshot it and throw it right in their face. You'll answer their question with such brutal honesty, and they will be taken back by it, because I mean you've answered the question, you've hit it, and it's probably something that they were already ruminating about as well, but you've just picked up on it and you've thrown it back in their face, and they'll be astonished. They'll be astonished because they wouldn't think that you were capable of such cutthroatness when delivering any opinion about even them. People are sensitive about themselves anyway. This is something you figure out very quickly. People are even the sensors are sensitive about themselves. But the kind of people that you'd have the most harshest effect in terms of first impressions and then walking away, definitely the feelers. INFPs are very secretive, but you can open them up, any sort of feeler type, I think, is going to get very pulled in by your initial charisma and your initial insight into them, and then you sort of do a pull and then you do a gigantic push unintentionally, alright? And that can be very shocking to a lot of people. This isn't any advice on how to fix this. This is just a perception that I've noticed in myself. Alright, that's going to be it. I'll see you later.